Yep, the holidays are fast approaching, but I'm here to help with a gift buying guide for audiophiles and just plain old music lovers. And I think it's a particularly eclectic selection of ideas that I compiled for this year's list. And the prices, by the way, are all over the place. But anyway, stick around for the whole episode. It's not going to be a long one. But the first one on my list is potentially the least expensive gift idea of all. And it is a podcast. Yes, a music-oriented podcast by Andrew Hickey. It's called A History of Rock Music in 500 Songs. And this is hands down my favorite music-oriented podcast. It's not about playing music, it's about stories about great songs and bands. And these episodes can stretch on for a while, a couple hours, 3 hours, sometimes even 4 hours long, without any interruptions, no commercials, no nothing. At the end of each episode, Andrew Hickey recommends and offers that you should consider joining his Patreon for as little as $1 a month, which is incredible. Anyway, he's a fantastic storyteller. The one on the Grateful Dead is fantastic, and the Velvet Underground and the Doors, even Tiny Tim. I was hanging on every word. So please consider that. I mean, unfortunately, Patreon does not offer gift certificates or anything like that, but you can figure it out. Anyway, I can't recommend that highly enough. And of course, while you're there at Patreon, you might want to join my Patreon. Anyway, that's another story. But next up on the list is the Dayton Audio HTA100 hybrid integrated amplifier. As you can plainly see, it has tubes in it. The tubes are for the preamp section, and it's a solid state output, Class AB, by the way. It's $200. It has a phono input. It has USB. It has Bluetooth. It has an auxiliary input. It has tone controls and those really cool meters. And, well, best of all, the reason I'm bringing it up is I reviewed it, and the link is in the description below this video. It's a really sweet sounding little amplifier for $200. And it's sold with a 5-year warranty. Yeah, $200. And it sounds great. So next up on the list, and this is for the vinyl lovers out there, is the Fern and Roby record weight. Now, it's heavy. It's 630 grams, which is 22 ounces. It is a solid chunk of machined brass. It is made in Richmond, Virginia. And you guys know I make a big deal about knob feel. Well, the feel of this weight is exquisite. I mean, it's a pleasure to use it every time I put it on a record. It's just a feel-good device. It just is. And it works really well as a record weight. Oh, and the price, by the way, is $135. Next up on the list is a music documentary by Toby Ames. The film is The Court of the Crimson King. It's about the 50-year history of King Crimson, Robert Fripp's band. And this is not the average rock documentary film. It's not. First of all, it doesn't have, hardly any music in it. It's mostly the members of the band, the ones that are currently in the band, and many of the members who passed through the band over its 50-year history. It's really about Robert Fripp, because he's the original member, and he's still there, and he's an amazing guitar player. But this is very intense music that King Crimson makes. And the kind of people, the fans of the band appear in the movie, going to these concerts and stuff. Anyway, it's not at all a typical rock documentary. You don't have, critics and stuff saying they're geniuses and all that stuff. No, it's just, let's put it this way, it's the band in their own words. So, over the past couple of months, when I've reviewed speakers that have by-wire speaker connectors, I made it a point to actually listen to them that way. Because, I put it off for years. It doesn't make a big difference. Actually, by-wiring, at least with some speakers and some cables, it's definitely a worthwhile difference. And I've used different cables, but the ones that I've come to rely on for most of my by-wire listening sessions are made by this company, Triode Wire Labs. The 6-foot set runs $1,099. Triode Wire Labs is based here in New York State. It's very flexible cable. It's not one of those stiff, heavy cables. But it's the musicality of this cable combined with its resolution. It's a very nice balance of res and musicality. So that's one to go on the list. And of course, they make standard non-bi-wire cables, and a 6-foot pair starts around $699 a pair. David Byrne's book, How Music Works, is exactly what the title implies. It's how music works. In other words, he's looking at it from all directions, but primarily as a musician. But he does spend some time talking about analog recording and digital recording and distribution and the music difference. But the thing, and working with Brian Eno and of course the Talking Heads. But the part that I found most fascinating is he spends time talking about the difference between being a live band, doing concerts, and a band that makes records. That these are two different skill sets with some overlap, obviously. But I like the way he talks about that. And I would say, my opinion is the Talking Heads were a better live band than they were a recording studio band. I love their records, but what really made them great was their concerts that I saw many times in the 70s and early 80s. So this book, How Music Works, is epic in the land that it covers in terms of exactly that, how music works. The next item on my list is the Riverstone Stylus Force Gauge. Yeah, this one's definitely for people who own turntables and play a lot of records. It sells for just $34. It's highly accurate, super easy to use, and because I'm changing cartridges a lot, I use it all the time. But even if you don't, and you just want to have the assurance that your stylus, your cartridge is tracking it exactly where you want it to be, it's nice to check every now and then with something like this. And for $34, definitely worth considering. And a great gift for people who play a lot of records. The next item on my list, the ELAC Debut Connects Active Speaker. This is a preview because I'm going to do a complete review on the channel coming up real soon. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. It's $600. It's an active speaker. It has a 50-watt Class D amplifier for each channel. It has a phono input, a USB input, HDMI ARC. It's a great little speaker. It makes a surprising amount of bass for its size, and it's good quality bass. Images really well. It just gets out of the way. Oh, and it comes in a variety of colors, including orange and blue and walnut. These are all vinyl wrap finishes. Okay, now I have two products from Schiit. First one is the Galahorn. Now this is a basic amplifier, not an integrated amplifier, but it is Class AB, fully discrete, made in the USA. It is $300, and it sounds really good. So it's 10 watts per channel into 8 ohms, 15 watts a channel into 4 ohms. It's a real honey. Okay, so the next one on my Schiit list, is the Schiit Loki Mini Plus. This is a 4-band equalizer. It's 20 hertz, 400 hertz, 2K, and 8K, and you can bypass it. It's a great little equalizer, again, made in the USA, $149. Now, I know lots of people that bought the original Loki, and they just can't stop talking about how much they like it. It's like some people say it's the best piece of audio I've ever bought because you use it all the time, and you can make your recordings sound a little more palatable. It's a great little thing to have. You can hook it up between your power amp, between your preamp and your power amp, or if you're not using separates, you can hook it up between a source, let's say like your DAC, and your preamp or receiver or whatever. So anyway, I love this little thing, and for the price, yeah, you can't beat it for $149. I want to talk a little bit about speaker stands as gifts for people that use stand mount speakers. If you have your speakers on wobbly stands, just kind of tipsy, that's not good. That is bad news. And when you hear your speakers on a stable stand, like these from Solid Steel, that's the name of the company, they're based in Italy where they design and build, all of their products. They make stands and record racks and equipment racks and stuff. But I'm just using their stands. And I am super impressed. The legs of the stand are stainless steel. They're very, very solidly put together. The top plate is MDF and it's sitting on 3 ball bearings. It's a very well executed design, and it definitely holds a speaker rigidly in place. So yeah, I think it definitely sounds better that way. So I really like the solid steel stands, say that 3 times fast, but I also like these wood stands from Buckhart Audio in Denmark. They're $485, or the ones that I was talking about. Those are $649 for the SS6 stands that I use. But the Buckhart stands, which are 24-inch tall stands, those are $485 in the US. They're made of wood. They're very elegant. They look great with Buckhart speakers and many other small stand mount designs. So yeah, maybe as a present to yourself, if you have wobbly speaker stands, yeah, treat yourself. Get a good tripod stand from Solid Steel or Buckhart Audio. Now I'm going to do something completely different and talk about Joel Liebman furniture. Now, Joel makes bespoke pieces of furniture, bespoke in the truest sense of the word, that each piece is built to spec to whatever the customer wants in terms of the veneers and the sizes and the arrangement. Everything is built to order. Nothing off the shelf here. Joel is a master craftsman. He's been doing this since 1989. So he builds audio racks for his customers, but also desks and closets and dressers and all that stuff, and chairs. He does it all, and they're all exceptional, absolutely exceptional. And Joel is the sweetest guy ever. So anyway, if I've piqued your interest and you're considering that, and obviously these are not inexpensive because everyone is truly bespoke. But anyway, check it out. Check out his website, and I will obviously link to that below. I want to finish up with an album recommendation, actually an album and also a box set, but just the album will do. And it's called Nuggets. The subtitle is Artifacts of the First Psychedelic Era, 1965 to 1968. Now these are basically one-hit wonders. It's not the Beatles and the Stones and Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin. No, it's these bands that most people under a certain age will never have heard of. But anyway, it's great music. It just gives me goosebumps every time I listen to it. And if you're a baby boomer, you probably know a lot of this music. And if you're a lot younger, you don't. But I don't know, I think you might really like it. So I have the original LP, but then it came out as a CD box set of, volume 2, 3, and 4, which are all really good. But if I just whetted your appetite for one, stick with Nuggets Volume 1 on LP or CD or streaming, however you hear music. Check it out. I think it'll make you bring in the new year in style. And speaking of style, yeah, let's do it. The Audiophiliac viewer system of the day. This one comes to us from Dylan. He lives in Hanover, Virginia. It's got 2 turntables, a Technics SL1200G with a Hanna SL moving coil cartridge. Turntable number 2 is a Fluence RT85 with an Audiphiliac 2M white mono moving magnet cartridge. Phono preamp Macintosh MP100, the integrated amp Macintosh MA6600. Speakers are KLH Model 5, subwoofer JL Audio E110. There's an Eversolo DMP A6, and the CD player is a Yamaha CDS 300. And he sent along a picture of his Beatles stuff right there on the wall. Anyway, thank you, Dylan. Okay, I'm back now, back here on planet Earth. Again, my name is Steve Guttenberg. I am the Audiophiliac. If you dig the channel, please consider joining and supporting my work with my Patreon. To do so, super easy to do. The address is on the screen right now. And if you just like a given episode, please hit that like button and also subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that yet. Please do it. And with that, I can say my work here is at last complete. Thank you again for watching, and I really do hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Bye-bye.